Good evening, sci-fi movie nerds, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Movie Guy. My name is Mike, and this is weekly show number 10. So I am your Grand Master of the Illuminati, and here we go with, as we always do, starting with Star Wars news. So our first piece of news today is at a ceremony in Los Angeles last night, 84-year-old John Williams became the first ever composer to receive AFI's Lifetime Achievement Award. The star-studded affair celebrated Williams' 150-plus composing credits and celebrated a man who has had an immeasurable impact on the world of film. Whether it is his iconic and much-loved work on Star Wars, or one of his 27 collaborations with Steven Spielberg, or any of the other pieces of cinema he has seen fit to elevate with his work, we are always well aware of what he has meant to Hollywood during his career. Steven Spielberg was on hand with a Super 8 behind-the-scenes reel of Williams' scoring session from E.T. way back in 1982. George Lucas was also there to put Williams' impact on Star Wars into context. Speaking of Star Wars, Lucas noted, as it was Williams' music that helped turn a film meant to be a fantasy for young people into a culture-shaking franchise, telling the composer, "You made my life so easy. I had so many ideas for other movies, but I never had a chance to get around to them thanks to Star Wars." Many stars were also in attendance, as well as illustrating the many different films and actors he has worked with or influenced over the years. People such as Harrison Ford, Tom Hanks, Drew Barrymore, and Will Ferrell. It has been confirmed that as long as he is healthy, John Williams will be scoring the soundtrack for Star Wars Episode 8 and Indiana Jones 5. And I gotta tell you, I am so happy to hear that. At 84 years old, he's still going to be scoring two of the top grossing movies, Indiana Jones 5 and Star Wars Episode 8. That is great news. I am a huge John Williams fan. I have all the Star Wars scores on my iPod. I listen to them when I'm out, just walking or driving to work. And John Williams is an icon. I mean, I used some of the Star Wars music at my wedding. I was at my best friend's wedding as the best man, and they used the Darth Vader theme to have me walk into. And it's just become a part of pop culture. Everybody, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, you've heard that music and gone, "Oh my God, that's Star Wars, and that's Darth Vader's theme, and that's Luke Skywalker's theme." And now with the new Force Awakens, they know Rey's theme, and they know Kylo Ren's theme. And it just shows you how impactful John Williams has been on the world. So John Williams, congratulations on your AFI honoring, and I can't wait to see Star Wars Episode 8 and Indiana Jones 5 and hear your music one more time. So our next story is, over the course of the last week or so, rumors about Rogue One reshoots have spread like wildfire again, with contradicting reports appearing in the media. While some reports claim the reshoots are perfectly normal on the big movies, the others cause great concern to the fans because they reported that almost half the movie will be changed. The Independent sat down with Mads Mikkelsen to interview him about his upcoming movie and took the opportunity to ask the actor about Rogue One. The part of the interview concerning Rogue One goes like this. The question is, "There's a lot of talk about the ongoing reshoots for Rogue One. Are you involved with them?" And his answer was, "I have 1 day of shoots. I can't even remember when. I think it's in 2 weeks." Then they asked him, "It's been very mixed in the press with two sides. Some sources are claiming the film will undergo big changes, while others are saying it will be very minimal. What is the feeling you have from being involved with the film?" Well, he replied, "Basically, all the big films I have done always have reshoots. It's just part of their budget. They're either not super happy with a scene or the way we were acting in that scene, or maybe there's just something they want to add. It's not a new thing. It happens with every film, whether it's big or small. I have no idea because I have nothing to compare it with, but it's the same film that we shot. They're just adding little bits here and there to do the final polishing. At least that's my feeling." So you know what? This just confirms everything I said on my last week's show, that this is normal procedure, especially for big blockbuster movies like Disney puts on. Disney had projected they were going to do reshoots, and there's a lot of reasons for it. it was raining one day on the set. So they're not going to stop everything and wait till tomorrow to reshoot that. They have a schedule and actors are coming in all the time. So they just keep going, and they know they'll get that shoot later on in the reshoots. Or you know what, an actor had a cold that day and their voice didn't sound good, so they'll have to go back and do a voiceover or reshoot the whole film. Or not the whole film, the whole scene. So please stop worrying about these Rogue One reshoots. They did reshoots for Captain America Civil War, and that movie was brilliant. They've done reshoots for The Jungle Book. That movie was great. So all this rumors have got to stop. Movies do reshoots. Let's just wait till December and find out how this movie is rather than be worried about it. I don't think they're going to put out a bad product. If it was really, really bad, they've still got 6 months to fix it. So they would go back and do even more reshoots until they got it right. So again, Rogue One, not worried about it at all. Now our next story is before Star Wars The Force Awakens even had a title, Ewan McGregor said he'd be happy to return as Obi-Wan Kenobi if they needed him, and he wound up doing a voice part in Rey's Force Vision. But this time there was another prequel star who was asked about a return to the franchise. A Hayden Christensen interview with eTalk was posted to YouTube back in March, but recently discovered by Digital Spy. During the talk, the actor was asked about the new trilogy. He said, "I'm very excited to see what happens with it, and I'm sure they'll take it to very interesting places. But you know I'm keeping my tabs on it. They sort of keep me abreast of a little bit as to what's going on in that world, but I don't have any involvement in the movies anymore. But they were obviously a big part of my life for a little while, so I'm very curious." Now, you may recall the book, The Art of Star Wars, The Force Awakens revealed Christensen's Force Ghost could have a part in J.J. Abrams' film. We now know that didn't come to pass, but the actor is definitely opening to returning to the big screen with Star Wars. And he said, you know what, I would love to come back as a Force Ghost, and there's been rumors that he is coming back as a Force Ghost. And I don't have a problem with this. I don't think Hayden Christensen did such a bad job in Revenge of the Sith, the third of the prequel movies. And you have to understand that it's not like it was for Star Wars 4, 5, 6, or 7, where they had real sets and monsters and creatures that were all real. Star Wars Episodes 1, 2, and 3, 90% of that film was done with a green screen, and there were no actors in the room. You had to pretend that there was a creature there because it was all CGI. Now imagine how hard it is to act all by itself when you're in real sets and actors. But then imagine having to pretend everything's there. Oh, there's a pretend spaceship. There's a pretend storm. There's a pretend city. There's nothing there but green screens. So I think Hayden Christensen, for what he had to go through, didn't do a horrible job in Revenge of the Sith. And I think with the right director running the film, he could do a good job as a Force Ghost for Anakin. Maybe talking to Kylo Ren and trying to convince Kylo not to go down the dark path any further and come back to the light side. So Hayden Christensen in Star Wars Episode 8, I'm okay with that. Now our next story is Ottawa, Canada may have gotten a taste of Star Wars last December when The Force Awakens came out, but that's not the only bit of Star Wars business that went on in Ottawa. According to ethics disclosures, Justin Trudeau was given a copy of The Force Awakens script, the 7th Star Wars movie released last year, signed by writer-director J.J. Abrams. U.S. President Barack Obama gave Mr. Trudeau, a big fan of the Sci-Fi franchise, I might add, the gift, along with a sculpture, a photograph, and Star Wars toys for his children during state visit to Washington in March. Now, if you know anything about Justin Trudeau, he has been a huge Star Wars fan since he was a little kid. So this is a really thoughtful gift from President Barack Obama. Now, I heard that what Justin Trudeau gave back was a book about our Native Canadians, as well as a Native Canadian sculpture. So, yes, you know what? That's giving a gift back to the president about something Canadian. But you know what? I think Barack did a little more research to find a gift that Trudeau would really like. I think it would have been nice if Trudeau had done some research and found out what Barack Obama likes and given him something. So, you know what? Trudeau, if you're ever watching this show, make sure you do some research with world leaders, because I think you probably felt a little bad when he gave you all that cool Star Wars stuff. I know I would be elated to have somebody give me a signed copy of the Force Awakens script. So, that is it for Star Wars news today. Now we're going to get into sci-fi movie news. And our first story is Marvel is currently hard at work on their next wave of Phase 3 movies, now that Captain America Civil War has been released and Doctor Strange is in post-production. That means all eyes will be on the 2017 slate, which includes the third film in the Thor trilogy, Thor Ragnarock, and a long-standing rumor may have finally been confirmed, along with some other cool details about the sequel. For some time we have known that Mark Ruffalo would be appearing in the film as the Hulk, and that his role would be rather significant. Given that the film will be taking place in space, that led to a lot of speculation that Marvel was finally going to adapt what might be the Hulk's most iconic storyline. A new report from Joe Blow, which is a Twitter handle, seems to confirm it. According to the report, Thor Ragnarok will indeed be adapting Planet Hulk. The film will definitely have Planet Hulk elements in it, operating as kind of a mashup with the Ragnarok story. How Thor ends up on the planet in question is unclear, but he will definitely be involved in some gladiatorial games run by none other than Jeff Goldblum's Grand Master. In addition to the confirmation that the film will be blending the two classic comic book storylines, the report also makes note that Hulk will be rocking his classic armor from Planet Hulk, which should look pretty fantastic on film. The report also mentions that Chris Hemsworth will be joining Hulk for the gladiator battles, and interestingly enough will be rocking a shaved head for a portion of the film. Now, I think this is pretty cool that we're going to see a little bit of Planet Hulk. So Planet Hulk was a Marvel Comics storyline that ran primarily in 2006, and it was about how the Avengers banished Hulk off Earth, and he had to go to another planet, and they called it Planet Hulk. And he kind of took over that world and then came back to get revenge on the Avengers for kicking him off Earth. And I think this is a really cool storyline, and I'm really looking forward to Thor Ragnarok. Now, it comes out in 2017, but I'm not sure as to where the Avengers movie... I'm guessing the Avengers movie must have to come out after Thor Ragnarok. But I'm going to look into that and let you know next week. But Thor and Hulk together, I think it's just a winning combination. So our next story is about a new film franchise, and we don't hear a lot about new film franchises, but Kate Mara comes face to face with the future in the upcoming sci-fi thriller Morgan, and it's not quite human. EW had an exclusive first look at 20th Century Fox's film Morgan, which marks the feature directing debut of Luke Scott, the veteran commercial helmer and son of acclaimed filmmaker Ridley Scott. Based on a script by Seth W. Owen that landed on the 2014 blacklist of hot unproduced screenplays, Morgan stars Mara as a corporate troubleshooter who's sent to a remote location to evaluate an artificially created, rapidly developing life form. Anya Taylor-Joy, the breakout star of The Witch, plays the title character. The rest of the cast is even more impressive, with Paul Giamatti, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Michael Yeoh, Toby Jones, Boyd Holbrook, and Rose Leslie. Speaking to EW about the film, Luke Scott said, "What Morgan really alludes to is human beings becoming, in a sense, the creator, not in a traditional religious sense, but an idea that we have the capabilities to become our own creator. And what I suspect could happen is we've all seen it in these movies, whether it's Frankenstein or Metropolis. It's the creation of a being that is greater than the creator." He added, "That's fascinating to me. It definitely feels like the next stage of evolution in the real world." So I am super excited about Morgan because, A, we haven't had a great new sci-fi movie that wasn't a sequel or a prequel in a very long time as far as I'm concerned. And I love Kate Mara. I think she is just a phenomenal actress. She was incredible in The Martian. She was incredible in Shooter. And this is going to just hopefully be a great sci-fi movie. And if it does well, then maybe they might do a sequel on it, and then I'll be talking about sequels again. So Morgan is coming out in 2017, and I hope you all go see it because I think it's going to be great. Now we get into the feature film adaptation of Stephen King's It will be hitting the theaters in November of 2017. Mama director Andre Muschietti will be at the helm of this movie, and he has cast Hemlock Grove's Bill Skarsgård to play Pennywise the Clown. This role was first made famous by Tim Curry, who played the evil clown in the made-for-TV movie back in 1990. The story starts in the 1960s with a group of outcast kids that call themselves the Losers Club, who discover the evil clown Pennywise is killing children and the vow to destroy him no matter what. The series shifts through 2 time periods, and the older Losers Club are called back to Maine as adults to finish the job they didn't quite get done as children. Now, I read this book when I was about 13 or 14 years old, and it's a thick book by Stephen King. And I have to tell you, I have never been so captivated with a book than I was with Stephen King's It. And when I finished reading it, I was sorry that I'd read it because I wanted to be able to go back and read it for the first time. I probably read this book that's this thick back when I was 13 years old in about 4 days, because as soon as I got home from school, I was reading till I fell asleep. Then I'd get up early in the morning and read a little more before I'd go to school. And I did this for 4 days till I got it finished. Then in 1990, I was so excited when the TV movie came out with Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown. And you know what? I was a little disappointed when I actually saw it. It was okay, and Tim Curry did a great job as Pennywise. But the other actors in the film, it was a little bit cheesy, and I know that it's television, and back in those days, it wasn't like we have with HBO now, like Game of Thrones and those other kind of shows that are a little bit edgier. So it was really tamed down from the book. So I'm looking forward. I hope it's a rated R movie, to be honest with you, when they do it in the theaters, because this book is dark and it's twisted. And that's what we expect from Stephen King. So I hope they do a great job with this movie. I'll definitely be going to see it, and I hope you guys will too. So our next story is Warner Brothers' PG-13 rated Suicide Squad adaptation is less than 2 months away with a release date of August 5th. And the marketing team has released 2 new TV spots to remind fans that it is still coming. Writer-director David Ayer and his star-studded cast of Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Jared Leto, Viola Davis, Jay Hernandez, and of course Ben Affleck reprising his role as Batman, aims to make this anti-hero outing for the best of the best in a year filled with superhero blockbusters such as Captain America Civil War, Batman v Superman, X-Men Apocalypse, and Doctor Strange. Now, I've been telling you for a while that I am so excited to see Suicide Squad. Now, there was a lot of rumors they had to do a lot of reshoots too because they wanted to add a little bit more comedy because it was so dark. And I'm okay with that. I don't mind that there's going to be a little bit more comedy in it because Suicide Squad, while it needs to be dark, it is a comic book movie, a superhero movie. So you need a little bit of levity as well. Now, if Suicide Squad does terrible at the box office, like Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman made a lot of money, but it was criticized very heavily. And I think if Suicide Squad does great at the box office, but is criticized heavily again, DC is going to have some serious problems when it comes to Justice League 1 and 2 and Wonder Woman and Flash and Aquaman, because they got a lot of movies scheduled to come out over the next 5 years. And if they blow it on 2 movies in a row, I think people are just going to stop going to these movies. Now, the hardcore nerds like me will still go, but all of those mainstream people that aren't super comic book hero movie goers that went to Batman v Superman may not go if Suicide Squad doesn't deliver. So DC, make sure you get it right this time, and let's have a proper cut movie and not ruin the director's vision like you did with Batman v Superman. I'm still really hoping that when Batman v Superman, the director's edition comes out, it's going to be 3 hours, rated R, and I'm hoping that's the movie that I wanted to see. So as soon as that Blu-ray comes out, I will be watching it and doing a spoiler and non-spoiler review. And I think it comes out middle of July. So as soon as I get that DVD, I will do my spoiler and non-spoiler reviews. So our next story is Brie Larson, who won the Best Actress Oscar for the role she played in Room, is rumored to be the frontrunner to play Captain Marvel. This would be Marvel's first crack at making a superhero movie with the lead character being a woman. The movie does not have a director yet, but it does have a script. And this script has been penned by Nicole Perlman, who co-wrote Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Meg LeFauve, who co-wrote Pixar's Inside Out. Marvel is the hero's name of Carol Danvers, an Air Force pilot whose DNA is fused with that of an alien during an accident. The resulting alteration imbues her with the superpowers of strength, energy projection, and flight. The character was an Avenger at one point in the comics, which has fans asking, will we see a cameo of Captain Marvel in the Avengers Infinity Wars movies before she gets a standalone film? Well, you know what? I think we will. I think that in Avengers Infinity Wars #1, we're going to get a Captain Marvel cameo like we did Spider-Man cameo in Captain America Civil War. And I think that's only smart to set up her movie. Just like in Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman got a cameo to set up the Wonder Woman movie. Now, I know people are going to say that Marvel has had strong female characters before in their comic book movies. And yes, they have. But they've never had the whole movie wrapped around just one female lead superhero. So this is great that they're finally doing this, because young girls out there need to see good role models. And what's a better role model than a superhero? I mean, when I was a kid, I looked at Superman and I saw, you know what, he was good and he cared about people and he was saving kittens from trees. And this made me want to be a better person. And I think young people today, especially young girls, need good role models out there. So I'm glad to see Wonder Woman's coming out, and I'm glad to see Captain Marvel is coming out. And I'll definitely be in the theater on opening night for that one. So finally, my last part of the show is always Mike's Pick of the Week, where I talk about an old movie that I watched recently and that I want you to go out and watch because it's really great. Now, this was a made-for-DVD movie, and it's Stargate Continuum. This show was filmed, part of it was filmed in the Arctic Circle. And if you buy the DVD, you'll be able to see the behind the scenes where they flew Richard Dean Anderson, Amanda Tapping out to the Arctic Circle. They actually had a full US submarine out there, and it pops up through the ice. And this is just an amazing made-for-DVD movie. Now, I was a huge fan of Stargate SG-1, and I watched all 10 seasons. I own them on DVD. So when they brought out the two movies, Stargate, The Ark of Truth, and then Stargate Continuum, I was hooked. And I'm sorry that the Stargate franchise is shut down now, and there are no more Stargate TV shows. But I go back and I rewatch the shows sometimes, and I definitely think you need to check out Stargate Continuum. So that's it for my weekly show number 10. Thanks again for watching. If you'd like to email me, you can email me at movieguySci-fi@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at movieguySci-fi. So thanks again for watching, and remember, nerds rule the world.